What's up, YouTube? How you doing? How are you guys? I want to talk about an experience that I've had uh, somewhat recently. It's technically an experience that spans over like a decade and a half, but the other half of the experience has come up recently, and it took this second half of the experience to make the first part relevant and notice to come around. Does that make sense? It took that much time for the pattern to cycle back around for me to notice. Does that make sense? It took a decade and a half. 14 years. 14 years is what it took. So, this incredibly bizarre and absolutely, to current knowledge, unexplainable event about 14 years ago. About 14 years ago, I, I left my parents. Was having a really bad time, and I left my parents. I basically ran away from my parents and went to live with current girlfriend and her roommates in Missouri. Uh, that was about 14 years ago. Uh, that was in 2011. That was in 2011, and that part of the story spanned from 2011 to I'm sorry, it spanned from 2012 to 2013 to 20. That part of the story spanned from 2012 to 2013, and then it came up again. The other part of it last year in 2024. Uh, uh, so now I've been analyzing it. I've been talking to ChatGPT. I told ChatGPT about this story that I'm about to tell you, and it analyzed it for me. You're just not gonna believe these things. You're just not gonna. I have the proof for him, and I, I have the proof for everything on this channel. You're just not gonna believe it. So 14-ish years ago, 2012, I was living in Missouri with my girlfriend and her roommates. This terrible little apartment in Missouri with three terrible roommates. So this guy, the roommate, the dude roommate, the only other guy in the house, he tells me it's just me. It's me, this guy, and three women. So there's five of us. It's me, my girlfriend, a woman who's just living there, and then this dude and his girlfriend. So five of us in this tiny little apartment, and he tells me. Uh, he tells me about this acid trip that he has, where, and he describes the acid trip just real briefly, not in like super great detail or anything, but he just describes seeing a like little like a dancing goblin on his desk, and he tries to hit it off, and he's like, I just saw a little goblin, I like tried to hit it off my like just something like that, and just really specific like that, and that's all it was. That's all it was. Just tried to hit a goblin off his desk. uh, so that was his acid trip that he described to me, and that's about all it was. That's about all the detail he had. Just this funny, dancy little goblin hit it off. So now, last year, 2024, like mid 2024 or fall 2024, last year, something like that. I've been playing a game called Magic the Gathering, a card game called Magic the Gathering, and I ran, and there's a guy that shows up there that I've run into, and who played regularly, and he in between games, or like after one of the games or something, we were like gathered around and just kind of bullshit and talking, and he starts acid comes up, acid trips come up, and he starts and he described this guy. This is an entirely separate person. One guy from 14 years ago, uh, and then an entirely separate dude now, uh, who's also much older. Who's also much older, shorter. There's no way you would think these are the same person at all. One's tall, lanky, skinny. The other's shorter than me and like 50 something or in his 60s or something, real old. Just plays Magic, and uh, so he starts describing this dude that plays Magic. He starts describing the same acid trip. He starts describing his acid trip, the same acid trip, about a little dancing goblin on his desk. He tries to hit it off. Makes the same motion. Wow, it makes the same. He describes it in the same way, with almost identical words, almost identical inflection in his voice, the way he said it, like the attitude about it, his like enthusiasm, like about it, and he made the same motion of hitting the goblin off his desk while saying that. So I told this story. I couldn't come up with an explanation for this, because this have you ever heard of any two people like as I don't for those of you who don't know what psychedelics are like, a psychedelic trip, mushrooms, acid, LSD, whatever, they're kind of like fingerprints. There are no two identical ones. There just aren't. There, because you're experiencing it. It's two separate people experiencing through two separate bodies. You know what I mean? There's just no way. There's just no way that two people have the same acid trip, identical, hitting a goblin, and not to mention, not even just the fact that it was an identical acid trip. He described it and made the same motion. He told the story in an identical way. So I told this to ChatGPT because I cannot find an explanation for it. I actually started writing down. I started brainstorming logical, mechanical ways that this could be explained, whether they're explainable by current known things or not. So like other entities, cool. You know, like just going off even if it's sci-fi and doesn't make sense, just going off anything that would make that possible, right? So clones, other, you know, like entities, different entities, or like the same entity wearing a different body, that would explain it. Or something else in a different body, something wearing a different skin, or simulation theory would explain it, because that could be like programming, or it could be like scripted dialogue that has been reused. It's a decade and a half later. It's like 14 years ish later. Does dialogue get recycled? So I told this to ChatGPT, and it brought up basically the same possibilities. It brought up the same type of possibilities. Clones, other entities, something else in the same thing in a new skin. I also asked Chat, this part blows my mind because it's a number that you just can't comprehend. I asked ChatGPT to calculate the probability of this happening. Here's where so you know that here's where I told it about the story. See, okay, so about 14 years, 2011, I spent some time, dude, and trying to hit it off the table with his hand, so that you know, I did in fact tell GPT this story. So scrolling down, right? I've never even heard of something like this. I thought this was basically impossible. This is extremely unusual. Let's break it down layer by layer. Okay, so like he starts doing that, and he starts analyzing it. ChatGPT starts analyzing it, and it came up. It goes here. Let's look at it in terms of probabilities. So it creates probability one. Uh, Probability 1, probability of someone describing a goblin during an acid trip. Let's say 1 in 100. Probability of someone describing a goblin dancing on a table and trying to hit it off. Narrower. 1 in 1,000. Probability of mimicking the same gestures, inflection, tone, also rare. 1 in 500. Probability of me encountering both of these people in life. 1 in 1,000. Probability. This is you have to understand how absolutely mind-blowing this is. Possibility that this exact sequence naturally happens without any underlying connection or influence, as in just genuine chance. If we no possibility that this exact sequence naturally happens without any underlying connection or influence, no simulation, no entanglement, etc. If we multiply conservatively, here's the equation it used: 1 times 2 times 3, probability 1 times 2 times 3 times 4, multiply them all together. 1 out of 100 times 1 out of 1,000 times 1 out of 500 times 1 out of 1,000. 1 in 50 billion. It put that number into perspective for me. It said it's like rolling a trillion-sided die and hitting the same number twice in a row. I did my own calculation on that. Counting to 50 billion within a lifetime cannot be done. The calculator's still fresh. It is still fresh. Here's the number it came up with: 1,585 years to count to 50 billion. That's assuming you can say each number in 1 second. It would take more than 10 lifetimes to count that high. So I'm going to give you what it said about the possibilities in the next video, because this happened fairly recently. It was sometime like mid last year. It wasn't even a full year ago. It was only months ago. And I knew it was an impossible. I was really frozen when it happened because I recognized it immediately. It rang in my head. I was like, that's never happened. No one's ever mimicked another person like this before. This is clone. This is mimicry. This is exactly, you know what I mean? This is unnatural. This isn't known to what we're aware of. So I'm going to tell you what it said about the possibilities in the next video. Because the probability of this happening, 1 in 50 billion, that feels, it should be impossible. That feels like it should be impossible. Something like this should be absolutely impossible. Something like this should be impossible. Let's go to part 2.